Hello, I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and thank you for joining me here on July the 1st of 2022. We're reading from A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students from the original edition, Lesson 182. I will be still a moment and go home. I will be still a moment and go home. This world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you as if there were a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice nor what it is the voice reminds you of. Yet still you feel an alien here from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you are in exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. No one but knows whereof we speak, yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Yet some try to put their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. He does not understand he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven. All he ever made was hell. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again. The childhood of your body and its place of shelter are a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. Yet there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he is alien here. This childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein on earth and heaven joined as one. It is this child in you your Father knows as his own Son. It is this child in you your Father knows as his own Son. It is this child who knows his Father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly. His voice cries unto you, and let him rest a while. His voice cries unto you to let him rest a while. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. This child needs your protection. He is far from home. He is so little that he seems so easily shut out, his tiny voice so readily obscured, his calls for help almost unheard amid the grating sounds and harsh and rasping noises of the world. Yet does he know that in you still abides his sure protection? You will fail him not. He will go home, and you along with him. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. Joshua is certainly trying to get us to really firm up our idea that we that we want to identify with that part of us that's defenseless, like a little child who doesn't even know that he has any need to protect himself from anything because mom and dad do such a good job. He trusts in you. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. He whispers of a home unceasingly to you, for he would bring you back with him that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong and where he lives an outcast in a world of alien thoughts. His patience has no limits. He will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you, calling you to let him go in peace along with you to where he is at home, and you with him. Eternal patience. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then will you hear his voice. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then will you hear his voice. Wow, good reason to set your beliefs aside. Those valueless ideas, just set them aside so that you can hear the voice of truth. So poignantly, he calls to you that you will not resist him longer. In that instant, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. Rest with him frequently today, for he was willing to become a little child that you might learn of him how strong is he who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds the might of heaven in his hand and calls them friend and gives his strength to them that they may see he would be friend to them. He asks, but they protect him, for his home is far away and he will not return to it alone. Christ is reborn as but a little child each time a wanderer would leave his home. For he must learn that what he would protect is but this child, who comes defenseless and who is protected by defenselessness. Go home with him from time to time today. You are as much an alien here as he. Take time today to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy without existence. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to you to ask your help in letting him go home, completed and completely. He has come as does a little child who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he asks unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more. Wow, this little child in his defenselessness, he rules the universe. That's the integrated self. You have not lost your innocence. It is for this you learn. This is your heart's desire. This is the voice you hear, and this the call which cannot be denied. The holy child remains with you. His home is yours. Today he gives you his defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made. And now the way is open, and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still a moment and go home with him, and be at peace a while. Let's let the Christ child in, huh? Okay, let's go take a look in our text reading. And we're ready for, in chapter 21, the inner picture, section 6, reason and perception. We ended in paragraph 51. Let's start with paragraph 50. As you turn in there, let me tell you about another okra variety. It's called the Hill Country Heirloom Red. And I'm reading to you from the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Catalog. Fat pods are very tender and full of good oaky flavor. that is so popular in the hill regions of eastern Texas. The pods are reddish-green in color, and the plants have red stems, very productive and high quality. And that's the Hill Country Heirloom Red. The Hill Country Heirloom Red. And let's see if, let's go to paragraph 50. Reality needs no okay, we're ready for this in chapter 21, at paragraph 50. Reality needs no cooperation from you to be itself, but your awareness of it needs your help because it is your choice. So the Christ child is going to be the Christ child in you, whether you know it or not, but it needs your help for you to be aware of it. Listen to what the ego says and see what it directs you see. And it is sure that you will see yourself as tiny, vulnerable, and afraid. You will experience depression, a sense of worthlessness, and feelings of impermanence and unreality. You will believe that you are helpless prey to forces far beyond your own control and far more powerful than you. And you will think the world you made directs your destiny, for this will be your faith. But never believe because it is your faith, it makes reality. Paragraph 51. There is another vision and another voice in which your freedom lies, awaiting but your choice. And if you place your faith in them, you will perceive another self in you. This other self sees miracles as natural. They are as simple and natural to it as breathing to the body. They are the obvious response to calls for help, the only one it makes. Miracles seem unnatural to the ego because it does not understand how separate minds can influence each other, nor could they do so. But minds cannot be separate. This other self is perfectly aware of this. This little child in you that's the defenseless one, that is completely integrated with all of the whole universe. Well, this other self is perfectly aware that minds cannot be separate, and thus it recognizes that miracles do not affect another's mind, only its own. They always change your mind. There is no other mind. You do not realize the whole extent to which the idea of separation has interfered with reason. Reason lies in the other self you have cut off from your awareness, and nothing you have allowed to stay in it is capable of reason. How can the segment of the mind devoid of reason understand what reason is or grasp the information it would give? All sorts of questions may arise in it, but if the basic question stems from reason, it will not ask it. Like all that stems from reason, the basic question is obvious, simple, and remains unasked. But think not reason could not answer it? Paragraph 53. God's plan for your salvation could not have been established without your will and your consent. It must have been accepted by the Son of God, for what God wills for him, he must receive. For God wills not apart from him, nor does the will of God wait upon time to be accomplished. Therefore, what joined the will of God must be in you now, being eternal. You must have set aside a place in which the Holy Spirit can abide and where he is. He must have been there since the need for him arose and was fulfilled in the same instant. Such would your reason tell you if you listened. Yet such is clearly not the ego's reasoning. Its alien nature to the ego is proof you will not find the answer there. Yet if it must be so, it must exist. And if it exists for you and has your freedom as the purpose given it, you must be free to find it. 54. God's plan is simple, never circular, and never self-defeating. He has no thoughts except the self-extending, and in this your will must be included. Thus there must be a part of you that knows his will and shares it. It is not meaningful to ask if what must be is so, but it is meaningful to ask why you are unaware of what is so. For this must have an answer if the plan of God for your salvation is complete. And it must be complete because its source knows not of incompletion. I love this reasoning. Where would the answer be but in the source? And where are you but there where the same answer is? Your identity, as much a true effect as this same source as is the answer, must therefore be together and the same. 55. Oh yes, you know this, and more than this alone. Yet any part of knowledge threatens dissociation as much as all of it, and all of it will come with any part. Here is the part you can accept. What reason points to you can see, because the witnesses on its behalf are clear. What reason points to you can see, because the witnesses on its behalf are clear. Only the totally insane can disregard them, and you have gone past this. Wow, that's nice to know we're not totally insane anymore. Only the totally insane can disregard them, and you have gone past this. Reason is a means which serves the Holy Spirit's purpose in its own right. It is not reinterpreted and redirected from the goal of sin as are the others, for reason is beyond the ego's range and of means. For reason is beyond the ego's range of means. 56. Faith and perception and belief can be misplaced and serve the great deceiver's needs as well as truth. But reason has no place at all in madness, nor can it be adjusted to fit its ends, or its end. Faith and belief are strong in madness, guiding perception toward what the mind has valued. But reason enters not at all in this, for the perception would fall away at once if reason were applied. There is no reason in insanity, for it depends entirely on reason's absence. The ego never uses it because it does not realize that it exists. The partially insane have access to it, and only they have need of it. Knowledge does not depend on it, and madness keeps it out. But in between, the partially mad or the partially insane have access to it, and only they have need of it. And the last paragraph we'll read today, I think, is 57. Well, 2 more paragraphs. The part of mind where reason lies was dedicated by your will in union with your Father's to the undoing of insanity. Here was the Holy Spirit's purpose accepted and accomplished both at once. Reason is alien to insanity, and those who use it have gained a means that cannot be applied to sin. Knowledge is far beyond attainment of any kind, but reason can serve to open doors you closed against it. You have come very close to this. Faith and belief have shifted, and you have asked the question which the ego will never ask. Does not your reason tell you now the question must have come from something that you do not know but must belong to you? Faith and belief upheld by reason cannot fail to lead to changed perception. Faith and belief upheld by reason cannot fail to lead to changed perception. And in this change is room made way for vision. Vision extends beyond itself, as does the purpose which it serves and all the means for its accomplishment. Wow. And vision is our greatest need now. So we just need to have an open mind and ask some really simple questions. You know, who am I? Is defenselessness worthwhile? Jesus says it is. All right. What a new way of living. We're going to try to really bolster up our strength and our defenselessness in these lessons we're doing now. I will be still a moment and go home. Be sure to connect with that little child in you that rules the universe, that only offers love and no attack. There is no cruelty in God and none in that little child, which is you. Protect it. Identify with it. And go home where it can breathe in the fresh air of God and bring it back to this world and bring peace along with you. Okay, so until tomorrow, be sure to do your 2 extended practices, morning and evening, or more, and at least 15 minutes, whatever, 5 to 15 or longer. And you can do it more than just morning and evening. You can do it any time during the day. And any of these hourly reminders can be extended for as long as you want to breathe in the fresh air of God, identifying with the little child, the little defenseless one. Unless you become as a little child, you'll know ways to enter the kingdom of heaven, Jesus told us 2,000 years ago. Well, here's an opportunity to practice breathing that defenseless one with it, to protect it, identify with it. That's how you protect it. I will be still a moment and go home.